What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome in to episode 201, everybody. I am your host, Sleazeball. My NFL fantasy football content is back to kick off the 2025 season here. Now, free agent frenzy happened yesterday. I'll dive into a couple of those. I am going to get into my top 10 dynasty buy lows here now. So I'm going to give you every position here also as well. So 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 2 tight ends that I think you should be purchasing in Dynasty as of right now. And if you guys have any trade questions, pickups, anything you guys want to drop them in the comments there. Always here to help you guys out. Glad to be back here. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you smash that like and subscribe. All the support's appreciated. I'm about to start pumping fantasy football content. The break is over. Sleaze Bomb is back. We are going to go wild here, guys. And let's dive into my top 10 dynasty purchases that you should be going after right now. Starting off with the first QB that you should be targeting in Dynasty right now before it is too late is Justin Fields. Just signed yesterday with the New York Jets on a 2-year, $40 million contract, $30 million guaranteed. So he is going to be locked in as the starter, guys. And he's going to be reunited with his college teammate, Garrett Wilson. So before we dive into all the stats from last year, the stats I'm going to look at from before that to show you guys, I want to show you guys a little tweet of mine. I know it's cheesy to throw your own tweet up, but I didn't see any other tweets like it. So I threw this up as well. So when they were at Ohio State, when Justin Fields was just targeting Garrett Wilson, passer rating was 133, 1,201 yards, 11 touchdowns, and Wilson also had 22 receptions of 20-plus yards, which is absolutely what they're going to try to do here, stretch the fields with the Jets. And he's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be slow, not able to get out of the pocket. This is what Justin Fields does. He uses his legs. He runs. Now, we look back here. So, you're looking back at last year. This is a 6-game sample. He was 4-2 as a starter. They pulled him for Russell Wilson, obviously, right? I still don't understand that one. He had 1,106 passing yards, 289 rushing yards, 5 TDs, only 1 pick. That's what you like to see. Rushing TDs was 5 as well. So he was a QB rank 32 because he only played 6 games. But look at his points per game average. It was 20.1, which puts him at number 8. If you look back the year before, 2023, his average was 18.4, which was number 9. That is back-to-back years of top 10 quarterback production with the rushing upside that he gives you. It is hard to ignore. So completion percentage was 71.6, passer rating 90.1, QBR 50.8. Not great there. Got to bring that up. But look at the deep ball attempts. This is what I'm talking about with Garrett Wilson stretching the field here. He had 22 deep ball attempts, which ranked 38th. That's in 6 games. I mean, imagine that through, let's average that out, right? Say you play the whole way. That's 66 deep ball attempts, which would rank in the top 10 there as well, which is why I love the Garrett Wilson buy as well too. But obviously I'm not going to put Garrett Wilson on my buy low. But if you're going to go target Justin Fields, go throw a mid-second, maybe a second and a third right now and go get this guy because you're going to have a 20-point top 12 quarterback and it's going to be cheap. And people are panicked on Justin Fields. Like always, I'm never panicked on him. Go buy this guy. Number 2 QB that you should be buying right now in Dynasty, and it's going to be a little more expensive than Justin Fields, obviously, because Justin Fields is 26, Drake May is 22. So Dynasty age always comes into play here, but I'm going to break down age a little differently when we get to running backs and wide receivers and why you should buy those players for different age circumstances here. But when it comes to Drake May, again, you're looking at 11-game sample here, right? So 2,276 passing yards, 421 rushing yards. Got to love that. The rushing upside is massive. 15 passing TDs, 10 interceptions, 2 rushing TDs to go with it. You'd like to see those interceptions drop, but he was a rookie. And what you have to think about here is who were Drake May's weapons last year, right? Jalen Polk, I never liked him coming out. Demario Douglas, Pop D, little slice and dice in the middle. They really don't have a true X. You could say Boutte. I mean, it was abysmal. It's Hunter Henry, who's a mediocre average to good tight end that I liked a lot last year as well because he's the focal point. But they've got to bring someone in here. There's a lot of Brandon Ayuk talk. Stephon Diggs still out there. A lot of free agents still out there they could grab to help him out. They could probably look at Travis Hunter in the draft here as well. So those are things to think about when you're getting Drake May. And look what they just did yesterday in free agency. Mike Vrabel comes in. He's going to bring a leadership that Drake May has never seen, which is one of the best things that Mike Vrabel does. And they go out and they spend a ton of money. They go get DT Milton Williams, the best DT from Philly. They get Carlton Davis, one of the best corners to match with Christian Gonzalez. Robert Spillane from the Raiders, Harold Landry from the Titans. They are dropping cap space like it's crazy, but they are building a defense that is going to get the offense the ball back. And they bring in Morgan Moses, the left tackle or offensive tackle, to help him out as well on a $24 million 3-year contract as well. So they're going out, they're protecting their guy. They're going to get pieces around him. Now, when you're diving into last year, right? So QB rank was 23 points per game, was 13.4. But what you have to look at is he only played 11 games and he had 3 20-plus point fantasy games, right? You look at Patrick Mahomes, he played the whole season. He only had 4. The rushing upside is immaculate with Drake May, and it's going to be better this year. You know, second year coming in. They've learned the system. It's getting better and better. I'm telling you, he's probably going to be ranked in my top 10 Dynasty QBs. Finished with 187.1 points. His production premium was over, which is what you're expected at on average. So he's a plus 4.5. You like that? 71.3% completion rating, 87.5 pass rating. Again, QBR, got to bring that up, but he was a rookie. Doesn't faze me at all. 59. And this is what I'm talking about here. So when you're looking at the deep balls, right, this is what you like in fantasy. You want the home run hitter, and they don't even really have anybody to stretch the field. So they're going to have to pick up something here to help them out, right? But you look at 33 deep balls, and that's an 11-game span. And when you look back at Justin Fields, you saw his numbers, and that was in the 6-game span. So take that into consideration, was why I like these quarterbacks so much this season. Go buy Drake May. Probably going to cost you a late to mid, maybe 1.07, 1.012 to get him. Maybe you tack a little third or fourth on there. Sorry, it swallowed down the wrong pipe. But you got to go get this guy now because it's going to be too late after this year. Over to the running back side, the player you should be buying low on right now, which I just made a trade today. I want to break it down for you. I traded Cortland Sutton for Najee Harris, Keenan Allen, and a 3rd-round pick. And why I like that, and I know Najee's on a 1-year, 9.5 deal with the Chargers. I made this graphic yesterday, so it says Steelers, but he's a free agent. He is now on the Chargers, right? But why you make that trade? Cortland Sutton, 28, Najee Harris, 27. You're going to get 1 to 2 year production out of either one of them. Cortland Sutton is going to fade out. That is why I like this move a ton. Plus, I get 3rd-round draft capital and another body in Keenan Allen. Now, when you're looking at Najee Harris here, this guy has rushed for 4 straight seasons since he's been in the NFL for 1,000 yards. He's the most disrespected running back that there is all the time. I know that he was in the Arthur Smith system last year, getting 50% snap share, splitting with Jalen Warren. Now you're going to get the Chargers' J.K. Dobbins workload, right? And J.K. Dobbins is not going to be coming back. I do not think so. I think they may draft a rookie in the draft, 2nd or 3rd round, and, play a little 65-35 snap share with him. But this guy's never been hurt in his 4-year career, never missed a game. He still averaged 5 yards per carry last year, 6 touchdowns. He was still a top 20 running back overall, averaging 12 points per game, giving you 204 points on the season with a production premium plus, which is what you like to see. And this is without a full workload. And he's still number 10 in yards after contact with 557 yards. Still ran a decent amount of routes out the backfield. Still a decent pass catching back. Snap share was only 50%, like I said, but the red zone touches, here we go, was 55, which is 11. And now you have to look at the Chargers. They ranked 15th last year inside the red zone, and he's going to be a home run hitter in the red zone here. He was 8th in explosive runs, to quote my guy D-Bro at Fantasy Points or Fantasy Pros, and 11th in yards after contact just in the red zone. This guy's going to be a beast. You're going to get a full Harbaugh system here. I absolutely love Najee Harris. I know he's 27-year-old, but maybe you're buying a 1, 2, 3-year punch running back of a Derrick Henry style at the Ravens, where he just gets, I'm not going to say he's Derrick Henry, he's a phenom with age, but you're going to get all those touches. And if he has a good year, they're going to bring him back, and they could build that rookie underneath him, just like James Conner last year. And he was even older. So James Conner was 28 last year, turning 29. And they bring in Trey Benson. He hasn't even played yet. You're probably going to see this same kind of run here with the Chargers and what they do. So you're going to see Najee Harris for 1 to 2 years here, and maybe the rookie develop comes in after. But it's such a good buy right now because he's going to win you championships, and I think he's going to be a top 15 running back this year. And if you can get a late to mid-second or early third, couple thirds for him, go do it now before it's too late. The 4th player you should be buying low on, 2nd running back I want to talk about here is DeAndre Swift. And I know this is going to draw a lot of Bears hype before the NFL draft coming on here. What's going to happen? I know that that's there. But what you have to realize is, before we dive into the stats here and everything like that, is they have Ben Johnson now as their head coach. And even if they bring someone in, what did Ben Johnson do with the Lions? the 1-2 punch of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who are both top 10 running backs. Now, what do the Bears do yesterday in free agent frenzy? They go bonkers on the offensive line to protect Caleb Williams and DeAndre Swift in the run game, which was their problem last year. Plus, I didn't like the coaching staff they had either. But they go get Drew Dolman, a center, $42 million contract. They go trade for Tooney with the Chiefs, who's a great pickup for a 6th-round pick. They acquire from the Rams Jonah Jackson for a 5th-round pick. They are protecting their franchise. They are building this offensive line. This is what Ben Johnson is going to do. And DeAndre Swift, still only age 26, and he's a scat back kind of, even though he almost had 1,000 yards rushing at 959. He had 1,000 total yards on the season with the 386 receiving yards as well to go along with 6 touchdowns. Still finishes a top 20 back, 12.6 points per game, 214 on the season. Production premium was minus for him, but again, the offensive line and offense was terrible. It's going to be a different look. This is why it is a good buy low, because owners do not know this yet and they're sick of it. Yards after contact, he was 23rd. He ran the 8th most routes, which you're going to see even more of with possibly Keenan Allen out of town. And you don't know if they're going to get a big bruiser back. Snap share was at 66%, which is also, or 67%, which is also top 10 there. But the red zone touches is where he always gets hurt, right? You know, the Roshan Johnson or whatever running back they come in always takes that goal line TD from him, which does hurt. But he's still a great value running back looking into the season. Caleb Williams is going to be better. Offense is going to be better. Offensive line is going to be better. It is going to be a great buy. And if you can get it for a mid-second right now, or maybe tack a 2nd and a 4th on, or a 2nd and a 3rd if you're willing to, I love going out and buying DeAndre Swift right now because he is going to outproduce his numbers from last season, even if they bring a running back in, because of the tandem punch you're going to see. 5th player you should be buying low on, running back number 3 on my list that you should be purchasing in Dynasty Fantasy Football right now is going to be Travis Etienne. And I know he's coming off his worst season, right? He's age 26. You could say he's declining. I'm not going to say that. It was just one of those years for the Jags last year. He finishes RB 35 right there, which tells you right there. And he was drafted as a top 15 pick. He was RB 3 the year before that, RB 17 the year before that. And his touches went down in 100 bunches, or 100 plus from last year. So the injury riddled him up. You saw Tank Bigsby come in. But what do you have now? Now you have Liam Cohen coming from Tampa. Did you see how Liam Cohen just used Bucky Irving? Who Bucky Irving, if I was going to give you a player comparison coming out, it would have been Travis Etienne. This is perfect fit right here. Perfect match. Is there some trade rumors swirling? Yes. Do I think they're going to trade him? No, I do not. Right. So last year only rushed for 558, right? Very bad there. Yards per carry 3.72, not one of his best years. Year before that, rushed for 1,000. Year before that, rushed for 1,000 as well. Rushing TDs was 2. Year before that, 11. This is how down the year is. This is why you pounce now. Receiving yards was 254. Year before that, 476, almost double there as well. 8.7 points per game, not great there. 130.2 points as well, not great there as well. But you got to remember, he did get injured in week 7, and it hampered him all the way. So these are the things you have to know to buy. So even yards after contact was down. Routes ran, still 174, top 25 there. You have to expect that to go up this year. Tank Bigsby's not a great receiving back. Christian Kirk out of town. Evan Ingram released. Could they bring in a rookie in the draft? Yes. Will that still bring down his routes? No, it will not. It's still going to increase. He's going to see a bigger snap share in the passing game. He only had a 55% snap share last year. Again, hampered the whole way. And you have to look at it like this. Before the injury, he was playing 60, 70% of the snaps. After the injury, he's playing 30, 50, 47, 52, 43. You can see the decline there. Now he's going to be healthy coming into the year. One of my favorite buys, mid to second. You know, if you have a mid-second, maybe throw on a 4th or a 5th with it. Try and, double up on it and go get a running back that's going to give you 2 to 3 years. That's going to be solid. The age always is like a gap stop problem for people that need to stop, because look what James Conner did last year at age 29, right? Or Derrick Henry at age 31, right? Or what, there's so many things that people think I need to stay at the 24 to 22-year-old range. These players can win you a championship for a better value than you can get at a late 2nd round pick, unless you hit that home run running back, right? That's the only kind of shot in the dark you have with that. But go get Travis Etienne now. Next player, moving on to the wide receivers that you should be going to get right now, is the newly acquired DK Metcalf from the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 2nd round pick on a 5-year, $150 million contract. So, even at age 27, you have a locked in at least 3 to 4 year wide receiver that you can probably get for less than he is because he's had a decline for the past 2 years, right? So if you look at 2000 to 2022, he goes wide receiver 7, wide receiver 14, wide receiver 16. The last 2 years, wide receiver 21, wide receiver 32. His worst season was this year since his rookie year. Now you're heading into Pittsburgh. We don't know what's going to happen with George Pickens yet either. They could keep him, they could not. And it looks like Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback as of quote unquote updates right now. Now, Aaron Rodgers also heading into age 42. But what people forget is when you come off an Achilles, it's always a rough year the next year. Very few players make it through. I know he's also on the older side, which hurts for him. But if he can get in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense with these weapons, DK Metcalf is going to feast just like Garrett Wilson was going to last year. It was just a weird year for the Jets. I really, really like the DK buy. Now, he didn't eclipse 1,000 yards. He had 992, 66 receptions, 108 targets, only 5 TDs down there as well. His worst touchdown year of his career. He had more as a rookie. He had 7 in 2019. But what you look at is his production premium is still over the norm at 5.6, which is what I love. It's one of my favorite stats. Snap share, 86.8, still in the top 20. Wide receiver 1, true alpha X. Target share, 21.3%. That's right around mid-tier for wide receiver 1 that's splitting with JC's and Lockett like we're out there. Routes ran 543, top 16, but route participation 94.3. Never comes off the field, maybe for a couple double tight end, 11 personnel sets. DK is going to eat this year and is a great value play. And you have to think they even have Najee Harris out of town right now too. So maybe they focus a little more on the passing game than they do the bruiser run game because Jalen Warren's not really a true 3-down back. Can he, be kind of a Chase Brown style and have a good year? Yeah, injuries will always be scary with him. Yes, smaller back. But still, DK is going to have a red zone monster year this year. I'm buying all the DK I can. You should be too. 7th player to go buy right now, second wide receiver as well. My list is going to be Rashee Rice. Now, I know you might be looking at a 6-8 game suspension, probably a 4 because it's the Chiefs and they'll get away with it, even though how crazy the situation was with him. But he's still 24 years old, guys. And what is missed, I know he kicked a major injury last year as well. I know that the recovery process is going well with the LCL in his right knee as of right now and heading into the season. Now, what you have to look at here is what people are forgetting here. I know you got Travis Kelce back on 1 year, but he looked hampered last year. Could he be out there and still make an impact? Yes. Will I still draft him at value? Yes. You're going to have Xavier Worthy, who kind of popped off at the end there, found a little more snap share, but that was with everyone out, right? So what you have to look at here is people forget that Rashee Rice, in the 3 games that he was playing last season before he got hurt in week 4, he was wide receiver 2 overall, averaging 21.6 points per game. This guy would have had a monster season. Now, 288 yards, obviously 3-game sample size, almost an average of 95 right there. 24 receptions, 29 targets, 2 touchdowns. He even saw some rushing yards. Got to like that as well. Obviously finished as wide receiver 100, but look at the points per game, 16.2, and that was that's giving him his game 4 average where he got hurt right at the beginning of the game. So it's more of a 20-point average, right? So 21.6 would be the number. 64 points in the season. Here's what you love. Look at the production premium. 22.6 at his top 5 in the NFL. That is what you have to love. On a 61% snapshot. That's how dominant this guy is when he's out there. 25.7% target share, which is top 25 there as well. Obviously, routes are down. Route participation, I expect that to be worked in, as the season goes. And say his suspension will even help him with his injury. So if you have early second, mid-second, couple seconds, maybe a second and a third, it's time to throw it now because this guy's worth 2 firsts next year. So you have to be playing ahead in this game and go get Rashee Rice right now. 8th player and 3rd wide receiver I like to target right now to go get is Christian Kirk. And I know he's 28 years old, coming off an injury as well. But this is going to be a smash play pickup, especially if the Texans don't address this offensive line to help out C.J. Stroud. So what do you have to look at here before we dive into it? I don't know if they're bringing Stephon Diggs back. It looks like they will not with this addition. I don't think they're going to bring the diva locker room problem Stephon Diggs back to the Texans this year. If they do, it would obviously hurt this buy, right? But they both kind of play the same position, so I don't see that happening. But what you're looking at here is before Stephon Diggs got injured in week 8, this guy was averaging 15.2 fantasy points from the same slot position that Christian Kirk is going to play. He was a top 8 wide receiver. This is why they brought in Christian Kirk to play this role. This is why I love this buy. Yes, it is, could it be a 2, 3 year pickup heading into his age 30? Yeah, it is. But it's also a cheap buy. So when you're looking at his stats, obviously coming off major injury, 379 yards, 27 receptions, 47 targets, only one touchdown, didn't even rush the ball like he usually gets a couple of end arounds, 8.9 points per game. Production premium was even negative, negative 3.7. That's unheard of for Christian Kirk. He's usually positive every time he's out there. Snap share was still at 70%. That's what you like to see for a slot wide receiver. Target share almost 20%. That's what you love to see as a slot wide receiver. Routes ran was still almost in the top 100, even though he was injured again. You got to remember that he didn't play since week 9, right? So that, you're looking at half sample size. And his participation still in the 78th percentile, which is insane for a slot wide receiver. He's never going to come off the field for the Texans. This is a true slot, always out there, gadget, every type play there is. If you have a mid-second, or maybe even a late second, mid fourth, late second, late fourth with it, late second, late fifth with it, I'm sure that team will be willing to buy on it in this draft, and you could go get Christian Kirk, who can be your starting wide receiver 2 or flex play all year long for the next 2 years in a solid situation. I love going to get Christian Kirk right now. Over to the tight end side, the 9th player, first tight end you should be targeting, and this one can be done very cheap right now, and it's absolutely glorious, right? So say you're looking for a Tyler Warren, or you're looking for a Colston Loveland coming out the draft, right? And you're like, oh, I want to get one of these tight ends. You can actually build your team. Say you have other holes you need to fill, drop a 3rd round pick, possibly 2026, possibly 2027, because Cole Kmet was nothing last year, right? He's still only 26 years old, and you can drop that, fill your other holes, and he is going to be a startable tight end this year. One of my favorite buy lows, but just don't overpay, right? I mean, if you want to throw a second, you can. I think that's a little high end because I think the owner will accept a 3rd. He's almost like, how do I tag and drop him kind of in a trade right now, tight end type player. Now, what you have to love here, Ben Johnson coming in. Again, we talked about the offensive line with DeAndre Swift. The protection is going to be way better for Caleb Williams. But what did Ben Johnson do with Sam Laporte in his rookie year? Made him tight end 1. Now, obviously, you're going to have, he had a little setback in year 2. I'm not going to say setback, but you saw Jameson Williams emerge. Jameer Gibbs was running back 1. They have so many weapons. It's different. The Bears do have a lot of weapons as well. I expect them to bring in a running back like we talked about, but Keenan Allen looks like he's not going to be back. More across the middle. Security blanket will be there. Offensive line, better protection. I expect Roma Dunze to have a bigger year. I expect DJ Moore to have a bigger year. And I expect Cole Kmet to have a bigger year than tight end 19. I can see him as a top 10 tight end this season. So, finished last year with 474 yards, 47 receptions, 55 targets, 4 TDs. Saw some rushing yards, which is nice to see for a tight end. Again, tight end 19, not great there. 7.1 points per game. But look at the production premium, plus 14.5. That's top 5 for tight ends in the NFL. This is what I like. This is my favorite stat there is, and that's why I like to show it on all my videos this year, heading into this year. You got to buy this just based on that number right there. Snap share 87.2, number 3 in the NFL, never comes off the field. Target share 10.4%. Again, their offense was in shambles last year, so that's kind of iffy there. But he still ran number 9 in routes at 422. His route participation was still at the top 16 at 66.7, which that's going to go up if Keenan is gone and they don't, who their wide receiver 3 is. See what they do there. But they spent a lot of money already, so I don't know how it's really going to play out if they get someone in the draft, maybe a Jalen Noel late or something like that. But you have to go buy this right now. You have to throw a 3rd. You have to throw a 4th. If you want to throw a late 2nd, you can. I think that's a little high because you can get him for super cheap right now, and he's going to be a startable tight end. And remember this video, he will be a top 10 tight end this year. Last but not least, player number 10, tight end number 2 on my list you should be buying. I know. It's Kyle Pitts. And when you look at Kyle Pitts, not great. Kirk Cousins was always made his tight ends great. Last year did not make Kyle Pitts great, but he was still a top 15 tight end. But what you saw down the stretch, Michael Penix gets his feet wet a little bit as a rookie at the end of the season from week 16 to 18. So first game, he comes in, very shaky game for Penix, 6 points, played the Giants. It was really, really ugly game for him. He was projected about 18 to 20 points. He did nothing with it. But first game in there, can't be mad at him, right? Then you look at game 2 and what happens. Kyle Pitts emerges more. 5 targets. From 2 targets the game before to 5 targets this game. Finds the end zone. Sees 3 targets in week 18 against Carolina where the season was pretty much over, but they're giving Penix more of a game. And then Penix has his big 30-point game, and everyone thinks he's going to go nuts because of one big game. I get all that. But you're going to have Drake London. You're going to have Darnell Mooney. You're going to have Bijan. this is kind of like a Jonnu Smith situation for me last year when you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Etienne and Jonnu Smith just running free. I think Penix is going to create more. Kirk Cousins, again, was coming off the Achilles, like I talked about with Aaron Rodgers. I kind of stayed away from Kirk Cousins in all of fantasy last year because they come off that Achilles the next year, and he's also 36 years old. It's very, very difficult the next year back. The year after that, I'm more into it than I am the year before. But now you have the rookie Penix coming in, like we talked about. So when you're looking at Pitts, he usually gets some rushing yards there as well. 602 receiving yards, 47 receptions, 74 targets, 4 TDs. Top 15, 7.7. Don't like that. Total points in the season, 132.2. Don't like that. Should be better. He's an athletic specimen. Production premium still positive. What I love the most. +3. Not great. Could be better. Still top 17. Snap share 62%. You'd like to see that be in the 70s to 80s, like Cole Kmet, like you just looked at. That's tight end 1 usage. Target share 13.7. It's probably going to stay around 15% next year as well. You'd like to see him in the 400 plus route ran, so he's in the top 10 category there. And route participation 62.1%. Again, you'd like to see that in the 70s. But I think this is going to be a bigger emergence year for the young stars of the Falcons. I like Drake London. Obviously, everyone loves Bijan. Penix, I like to break out a little bit here. And I'm hoping, I know I've been, like, everyone's on Kyle Pitts and down on him. This could be great value. I'm hoping this is the year. This guy's so athletic, and he's still only 24 years old. Like, he's been in the league this long. He's the same age as Michael Penix. Think about that. Like, it's crazy. So you could go get this guy right now for late second, maybe early third, maybe 2/3. And you have a 24-year-old tight end who has an athletic specimen body. Maybe he's in the wrong situation. Maybe this last year of his contract plays out and he's gone next year, and you get to play ahead. You have to take this buy low opportunity right now on him, because if he pops this year, like everyone has been waiting for, what are you going to do after he pops? What is his value then, right? So it is worth the shot to me, even though I know it's very, very risky with him, and I love buying Kyle Pitts this year. Oh, thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode 201. I can't believe I got through 200 last year. I can't wait to see where it goes this year. Again, I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support you guys showed me last year. We are back, baby. I am back doing the fantasy football content. I'll still be gaming here and there a little bit for FNCS and stuff like that, but we'll be back with daily posts, daily live streams, daily drafts, early best ball, everything like that. So if you guys have any trade questions or anything, always drop it in the comments. I'm always here to help you with anything you have. As always, guys, before we head out, make sure you smash that like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. I mean, what we went through last year from 0 to almost 5,000 subs, you guys are absolutely amazing. The best community. You can always check out the Discord as well if you don't make a live stream. Any questions like that, the Discord link is in the video as well. And I will catch you guys in the next one. My next video will be, I'm going to start diving into my rookie rankings here. I've watched almost 50 plus hours of rookie tape here. I hit a bunch of sleepers last year. I got a bunch of sleepers I like this year. Some players I don't like if I want to break you down a little early breakdown, I really don't like this quarterback class this much. But we'll get into that in my next video tomorrow, guys. Hope to see you guys in there. Have a good one. Enjoy. Sleazebum out.